Thanks for coming by. When was the last time you heard that? I mean, you probably. Do you own a copy of that?
I've heard it on YouTube. Last year somebody said it was on YouTube, and I switched on and indulged for a little while listening to it, and then thought, actually, this is embarrassing, and switched off.
Do you remember are you singing on that?
Well, that's a very good question. I'm in the mix somewhere. I think it's fair to say we were all picked as actors. And Gillian has a really good voice. Brinsley went on to found Aswood, and so I think he's got the musical credibility for everybody. And the rest of us have variable voice qualities, sort of between. Actually, I think Debbie had quite a sweet voice, but
Tiger.
But the four guys, our voices were sort of variable from poor to awful.
Now, you've mentioned a name that is joining us on the phone. A very good afternoon to Gillian Bush. Hello, Gillian.
Gillian Bailey still. It's still the Bush Bailey.
Sorry, Bush Bailey.
That's perfectly right.
I do beg your pardon, Gillian.
That's all right. Hi, Michael.
Hello, darling. We used to call her Bush Baby, so...
Yeah.
She's had this before, unfortunately. Hello, Gillian. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm very well.
Oh, I'm just going to stand back and let this little reunion happen. When was the last time you were in conversation?
Too long ago. Probably a couple of years.
It was a couple of years, yeah. In Paris, I think, wasn't it?
That was several years ago. Too long ago. Probably a couple of years.
It was a couple of years, yeah. In Paris, I think, wasn't it?
That was several years ago. Paris, I think.
Oh, we had Paris.
Well, there was the French TV. I mean, I have to say that you were outdone by them, Sean, because they had a double-deckers special on, and they flew us all to Paris.
Oh, fantastic. You were big in France.
We were big in France.
You were big everywhere, really, weren't you? You were big. It's big, quite... Obviously, and this is probably where the story begins, it was actually an American-funded TV series, wasn't it? So, obviously, there was a level of celebrity, probably, for you as kids in America at the time.
Gillian, you going to answer that?
Well, I don't know. I never knew whether there was or not. I had a godmother who lived in the States, and she used to say the show ran kind of constantly, episode after episode after episode, for about 4 years. But I don't seem to remember getting much mail from the States. Most of it was really from the UK, and it seemed to be the showing on the BBC was the one that kind of really hit here and was part of people's growing up, I suppose. It
was very much part of people's growing up. Gillian, I've got to say that we've been running the feature. It's very, very big in my life, and therefore on the show that I do on Sundays when I use it as the theme tune to the show. And every time, I tell you what, I play that record, and a lot of times, I haven't heard that phrase. A lot of people are very nostalgic for it because they haven't seen it since they were kids. Because tell us the story that's attached to why the double deckers is one of the.
There is a story.
There is a story. Who wants to tell me the story?
You probably know the story better than I do, but it all comes down to money.
Yeah.
Which is interesting that they're releasing the CD. Michael, have you signed off the rights to the CD?
Oddly enough, no.
No, strange, that one, isn't it? I'm sure the voices will be sold all over the place, but I don't remember signing anything away. But it was repeated in the UK in the 70s and late 70s, and we were paid again for that release. Right. But then they showed it somewhere on a cable TV, I think, and they had to fork out for that, and that's the last you've seen of it.
Because it basically costs too much. It costs too much money each time it gets shown.
It's more complicated than that, because a lot of old shows are shown again. So there's a process for letting that happen. In this case, do you know The Simpsons?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm familiar with that.
Basically, if you think of the Simpsons are made by 20th Century Fox.
Who was the same company that made Double Deckers?
Exactly. And if you think as the owner of The Simpsons, Rupert Murdoch, and if you think of Rupert Murdoch as Mr. Burns in The Simpsons, a gentleman who we could say would be the equivalent of Smithers, actually said to me, look, the problem is that it was being shown so often throughout the world. we didn't know that anybody was due any money for it. And now, if you open the file marked double deckers, there's a note in it saying, put this file away, say nothing about it.
Oh, we're digging deep here.
And so whenever anyone says, hey, there's a lot of talk about this old show, why don't we re-release it? People go to the file and say, best not.
Let's